It's time for another
What's he got anything, Joe's?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Anything Joe's, a collaborative journey through the world of G.I. Joe. My name is Greg Engel,
And I'm Joel Thompson.
and we'll be your host today. A lot of times on this show, I feel like an old war vet, dragging Jaron around, forcing him to listen to stories about things he's not interested in. So for a refresher, when we got the RoboSkull in, I thought it would be nice to talk to somebody that was also legitimately interested in it and had ordered it. So I invited Joel onto the show. Joel, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, sure. Thanks for having me.
I am very excited for this product, and I have been for a long time. The RoboSkull Kickstarter launched in 2021. It's been a 3-year fulfillment process, and you probably can't listen to 5 episodes of this show in a row without hearing me bring it up at least once, because I've been extremely excited for it. To go back a little bit, in 2021, when this Kickstarter launched, I had just come off of a long rant about how much I wanted an original Action Force RoboSkull, and had been actively pursuing one online for at least a year at that point. So when this was announced, it was like meant to be something I really wanted, and they'd modernized it in a way that was extremely appealing. As a pretty heavy modern collector, it was like, oh, that's perfect. It's actually more along the lines of what I wanted in the original. I would still like to have an original someday, but it can go on the back burner for now. Joel, do you own an original?
Just like you, my introduction to the RoboSkull was, Larry Hama threw them in his run of IDW books.
Mm-hmm.
And while I wasn't reading the books, I was listening to every podcast that existed. So one of those was the original version of the Full Force, and they talked a lot about it. And it's interesting because when I first found out about the vintage RoboSkull, it was pretty affordable. And then basically Larry put it in the book, and it became very much unrealistic.
Yes, much more popular.
But so to answer your initial question, no, I do not own a vintage RoboSkull. Realistically, I probably never will. If one fell into my lap, that would be amazing. An international toy falling in someone's lap doesn't really happen. So, but I was super excited for this, and also just to throw it out there, we're not even done with our rewards yet. We're still waiting on a lot of action figures.
Yeah, so we'll get into the extras, because we both probably got different things on our add-ons, and some of that we have here, which we'll discuss, and some is still kind of in transit or still being produced or whatever. They've been really good about shipping out what they've got when they've got it, and so I got to give them full credit for that. Joel, can you tell us a little bit about Skeletron?
So I've been fortunate enough to spend a decent amount of time with Ben, and he is just a very passionate fan that found himself in a position to start a toy company, and he's an avid modern collector, which is why we got a modernized, beautiful toy. And he teamed up with Marauder for the figures, which is a dream, because, you and I are both Marauder lunatics.
Some of the best is, yeah.
He did everything the right way, meaning that he purchased the licensing, he purchased the names, he purchased the likeness. For everything he's done. So everything he's done is above board and done, proper, we'll say. And then even from a, kind of in honoring the past, he brought in Bob Breakin as a consultant of some degree. And he brought him to Joe Fest last year. It's he's essentially done everything the way you would want something to be done, in terms of hey, we purchased the rights to make this toy, and we're going to do it right, and we're going to respect what it came from, right down to having the person who created it on the team.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I have a lot of respect for that. There's a lot of diehard fans that don't like it when you mess with the original stuff so much. So it is always a hard line to walk between. You see it in Classified also, the war between modernizing a figure but also keeping it faithful to the the original design. It's like that pretty much with everything in the G.I. Joe universe. The people that don't want anything to change and the people that need it to change a little bit.
I think they made it a point to call it the RoboSkull Mk, like, signifying that it is the second version of the RoboSkull. Nothing is better than when the people involved in a project are passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ben is a huge G.I. Joe fan, and he, like a lot of us, found the RoboSkull and thought it was one of the coolest things on the planet, and here we are. So he decided to make his own the right way. But he's a modern toy collector, so he understands what we're looking for and what we want, which is a quality toy at a fair price that is cool and neat and new and
I think that is an important distinction, that he's like a fan first and a creator next, and that means a lot to those of us that have been collecting for a long time.
I'll just say this and then we'll move on. But everything about this project is, in my opinion, it comes through as like a fan. Like all the little add-ons, all the extra stuff. We'll get to it when we watch your video, but all the stuff that works together to make this toy super playable is, that's definitely from a fan's heart, not
is there, yeah. Absolutely. So, does the 3-year wait for the RoboSkull pay off? The answer is yes. It's not that type of YouTube channel. We don't clickbait you here. But if you'd like to know why it's a great vehicle that's worth the wait, then let's open up the box and take a look at what you get with the RoboSkull Mk. Right off the bat, I want to talk about the box. So there's no mistake when your RoboSkull's arrived, because they even have gone to great lengths to decorate the outside of the box. It has Skeletron logo on it. It has, it's clearly labeled as the RoboSkull Mk. I actually made an effort to show all the sides of it because I was so impressed with it. I like little stuff like that you just when you see it, you get that, that Christmas Day excitement. Check that out, the top of it, where you can actually see the full design of it. It's got the little caution tape on it. I was impressed by the packaging.
I mean, it's it's like what I just, what we said in the intro. One of the coolest things is coming across the old G.I. Joe mailer boxes from even the modern stuff, but just in general. So they took it to the next level and were like, all right, this is a fully decorated shipping box. Yes.
Yeah, I respect that. It's a small cost inclusion that isn't a requirement. So I appreciate the little things like that. If you thought that box art was great, wait till you see what's inside.
This is exciting for me because I have not opened mine yet because I don't have a place to put it right now. I will soon.
Yes, I totally understand that. Here you can see that they've taken great care in the packaging. I don't talk a lot about this because I'm usually pretty fortunate, but they have the little corner protectors. It has a box inside a box, so it's extra protected. I think more and more, especially with HasLabs, we are becoming more conscious of shipping and how careful people are actually being with the product that we're paying hundreds of dollars for. So here's the reveal of the box itself. This is the back of the box, which is kind of like the sell sheet, but I'm getting ready to flip it over and you'll see this just amazing box art on the front. Really, I mean, there's a lot of little extra stuff that went into this project that we might not have time to talk about, but they had songs for, Wordburglar did a song to go along with this, and they've had all this art has been commissioned and designed for it. It's really hard to I don't want to undersell just how much little detail went into this.
I will throw in, multiple people from our community were brought in to work on artwork and the songs that you said and the book that we haven't got yet, the ultimate RoboSkull book that's coming. This is this is a true passion project that is a success, and not every passion project is a success, as we know.
Very true.
But this was, I mean, ultimately, as much as anybody who knows me knows that I am not particularly thrilled on the 6-inch scale. but I do recognize and understand that that's what's popular. So the fact that Skeletron had the foresight to be like, we're doing 6 and 4, and we're gonna do it well.
Yeah.
It neither scale suffers from this being universal, we'll say.
Yes, a tremendous amount of like foresight on their end to be like, we can make it so everybody will want this for something.
Yeah, that
In this
artwork
particular,
is great.
yeah, it's sick. It even has like a kind of a weird, clever cut in the upper right hand corner that puts it at an angle. Just a little stylized design that I think looks really good. The top of the box, it shows a bunch of features that it has, like the stuff that we're going to get into in a minute. Different art on the side featuring the Skeledrones, yeah, and the pilot. It's all amazing. This is one of those ones where I don't do this with everything, but I broke this box down and was like, I'm going to find somewhere to save this because I wanted to make sure to still have it. I should mention also that this is the standard RoboSkull. There are actually 2 editions. There was a special edition Kickstarter edition, which I'll show, and then this is the regular one. And I did buy both of them, but I only opened the regular one because that's the one I had intended from the get-go to like play with and display. The special edition one I'm probably just going to keep for collector's sake. And if you know anything about me, you know if I have one in the box, that the one that I open, I'm much more like I'll let my daughter play with it. Like we do whatever we want with it.
Well, let me ask you this:
I have a safe one.
Are you going to at least take the figure out of the special edition box?
Yeah, I already have. I already
Okay.
opened him. We already played with him. Yeah, we'll talk about him in a little bit too. So here's the inside of the box. You can see I finally opened it up. You got a first peek of the old skull himself. RoboSkull here with us today in the office. Here, I've got him here on my desk.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Long time listener, first time caller.
So, here's the inside of the packaging. It basically comes in a bunch of like big plastic things that's got it all molded together. I'll skip ahead a little bit so we can see what you actually get into because it took me a minute to figure out how to get into it. It's taped up. That's our big sticker sheet.
So I believe it's the size of a human skull, right?
I mean, yeah, basically it is believable that
I believe it
a
was
life-size skull.
Yeah, I believe it was part of the advertisement.
Holding it up to my own head, that seems, yes, it seems feasible.
I can't wait to talk about my favorite, theoretically my favorite part of this because I have not opened mine yet.
So here's the skull itself. You can see it basically, there's several attaching parts, obviously, as you would expect. The detail on the skull is, I mean, it's amazing. It far exceeds what the original one looked like. It's the little canopy at the top is where your pilot goes, or pilots if you're using the 4-inch or 6-inch scale. There's a interchangeable chair that goes in that compartment. So if you're using a classified figure, it's just one single chair that he can kind of lean back. And the set that's in there now is a back-to-back chair for 2 4-inch scale figures, so they can like one as a gunner and one as a pilot essentially. And those are compatible. I mean, it would work with both modern and vintage scale figures. So you pretty much, I mean, if you're collecting any G.I. Joes, this would work with it.
If it works for 4-inch, it'll work for O-ring, but that doesn't always work in the reverse, which...
That's very true. So it's got a little bit of a like up and down gun, like a chin type gun on the back. I guess that's what the person facing back utilizes as a weapon. Not a lot of responsibility, and maybe there's some other stuff that they've got to do also.
Maybe they've got screens and they're controlling all the weaponry while the other person...
wings or something. Yeah, the missile launch lock-ons and all that. The interchangeable eyeballs.
Man, I cannot wait to open mine. This is...
So
did it come with extra Skeledrones?
Yes, you get 3 Skeledrones with it because they are shown on the packaging, like going inside the little or the little like jail cell thing, or the little flatbed.
Yeah.
And they had shipped me 3 prior. I don't think I backed an additional 3, but I can't confirm that. I might have backed it, not realizing they came with it.
I believe those were just a bonus gift, if I'm remembering correctly, which is awesome. I think I got...
Yeah.
I got like 2 or 3 sets of them, and then they gave a set away AR. I'm going to buy more just because I think they're sweet.
They are.
And they're very affordable, which is kind of like... I just want to stress that throughout this video, that for what I paid for 2 RoboSkulls with the all-in, it's truly unbelievable how much stuff that you're getting. It is
Yeah, it's loaded with stuff.
It seems that, Kickstarter has shifted a little bit. Not every creator offers the buyer kind of like a buy-in bonus, or definitely not one as big as this. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm distracted by you. And did you know that you can plug the chair into that?
Yeah, it's in the instruction sheet.
Okay.
I didn't try it, but yeah, they do make a note of it. That's the thing that goes underneath the chin itself. It kind of there's a bigger gun that mounts into it, and it also helps the mouth move. You have to move it to move the mouth into position.
Okay.
There's my third drone. So I have 6 drones total. There's the classified scale chair that I was talking about. The little I don't know what you call the little handles, but they move back and forth so you can pose them really easily. I'm not going to use that, but I'm a big fan of it. I mean, I'm glad that it's an option. And having 6 of the little Skeletron guys, I'm actually really pumped about because I think they're awesome. All 4 of the individual legs move. You can move the head a little bit. It has quite a bit of posability for what it is. And you can just see those, that mouth opening up and all those pouring out. I just think it's super cool.
So right there, that is one of the things I was the most excited about.
Yes.
Because I know as a kid I would have absolutely went bananas for that.
I couldn't agree more.
I think you and I have talked about this, but I'm always a fan of any breakaway item. We've talked about the Skysweeper jet from the middle years that they brought into the Rise of Cobra line, and that has the dropout spy drone in the bottom that you can fit a single figure in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm I hate to do this, so please forgive me in advance, Greg. But part of the reason I was so excited about the HasLab Ghost was because it has the little break-off Phantom.
Gross. I specifically uninvited Jared here so we could not have Star Wars talk today.
Well, hold on a second. Well, to be fair, Greg, while you want to boycott Star Wars, and I understand, you understand where the biggest chunk of influence for this vehicle came from.
Yes, of course.
We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to talk about it.
I'm totally with you on this little prison transport, and for those of you that don't have video or are unfamiliar, it's basically a small rectangular bed. It's kind of like Han's Frozen in Carbonite. Oh, great. Now you got me doing it. It's just a little flat bed that they picture it holding the 3 Skeledrones, but you could also put a full-size figure in it for transport, and it slides in the back of the skull flat, for storage or transport. And that's just flat out play functionality.
I believe Ben has commented that it can be, now correct, sorry if I'm putting out misinformation, but it's storage for the Skeledrones. It's a prison container and or a med bay.
Oh, okay. I love all of that. I'm just right there with you. When I saw it, I was like, oh man, this will be super fun. Just using it even without the Skeledrone. It's a great little Dio piece.
I believe the first time I talked to Ben, I probably spent 10 to 15 minutes talking about just that item because that is everything to me.
Yeah, I love all of that. I put it right there with the Skeledrones, and just in terms of it immediately gets my creativity flowing. I'm starting to envision it in battle. What does it look like? What does it do? What are they using? I really get into that type of stuff.
And it has a little flight stand that comes with it, so it can hover next to characters.
Yes, yeah, it's super cool, full through and through. This is the first of 2 wings. They go on the left and right. The top and bottom of each wing is kind of flexible. They can kind of fold inward a little bit if you're so inclined. Pretty durable, and I say that because it took me forever to get them on correctly. I couldn't line them up right. I was consulting the instruction sheet because I wasn't sure which way was forward. We'll get to that in a minute. There are 4 blast effects that look like they're firing. I think it's intended to be 1 for each corner of the wing. This is 1 of 2, they go in the place of the eyeballs. I don't know if they're supposed to be I guess bombs. Everything that are in his eyes seem to also double as weapons.
Oh, we also should just throw it out there for the real diehards out there of Bizarre Toy Lines. This thing, technically, because of that bomb, can be paired with Diaclone.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They also talked about that, but that little bomb thing could be like a pod for the Diaclone scale. I don't really know what the scale is other than very small. So
Yeah, that's cool.
technically speaking, we're at 3 scales.
Something for everybody. This is the lightning effect. Basically, the mouth opens and there's a plug that goes in, so it looks like he's shooting out electricity. This is very cool. I'm not sure it's my exact cup of tea because that's not historically how I display it, but I did plug it in to see how it looked, and it looked very, very cool. I like the addition of it, and I also like the way that it's made. Like, it's very erratic. It doesn't have it's how you would expect like an electricity effect to arc out. It doesn't just look like a plain like flame effect. You know what I mean?
I believe the Mark II comes with a yellow one.
Oh, cool.
And I saw someone switch them because the Mark II has yellow face paint, and
Right.
the blue kind of breaks it up. I thought it looked awesome with both. Eventually, I will open both of mine because honestly, I probably want to get a third one, another classic, so I can have the special edition in the front and then 2 classics
Yeah.
behind it. But I mean, they got to get to the store first. I got to open mine before I
Right.
consider buying a third one.
Well, one skull at a time.
Yeah, geez, I'm
Let's
sick.
see. All right, here's our other wing. I'd say we're getting ready to get to the point where you can watch me awkwardly try to shove these things onto the side. I was I'm a little rough with my toys when it comes to this. I get frustrated very easily. Just I'm going to slam it on there with a hammer. There's our last 2 blast effects. Yeah. One of my blast effects is a little crooked. You can kind of see it's the right one of these 4. It's got like a little bit of a...
Hit it, either dunk it in like super hot water or hit it with a hairdryer.
Yeah, that's probably what I need to do, is just give it a little stability. I'm just too lazy for that. These small yellow missiles are also additions for the inside of the mouth. Let me see if I can hold mine up. I might be able to give you guys a little bit more. Yeah, so Joel, you won't be able to see this, but if you open the mouth up, you can see there's that's where all the little yellow missiles go. So it's kind of like a little deadly surprise. It goes directly above where the lightning attaches to. We'll get to that in the end when I start assembling it, but I want you guys to see kind of what their purpose is. One of the only really small things. These are 2 twin Gatling guns. That's another option for the eyeball socket. I have opted to put the green bombs in as eyes on mine because I think it really pops in that red. But if you're looking for a little more traditional gunfire, these are your options. 2 little Gatling guns to go in there, which I think also look very cool. Just not as cool as 2 big green glowing eyeballs.
Another thing to add in is that for anybody who backed Complex Series 2, the portholes are the same size, so it's interacting with those as well.
Oh, cool. Is Complex Mark II ever coming out?
Yes, there's some progress. It's slow, but the last update we got was, they're just trying to fix some small things and, get them handled before they're shipped. That way we don't have any QC issues.
I'm excited to see that because I'm a big fan of Complex. It's just been not been a lot of updates in the last little bit.
Bob Breakin, the man himself, Bloodwolf.
Yes, so this is the pilot that comes with RoboSkull. His name is Bloodwolf, and as you can see from his real face, he's designed after Bob, who is he was like the lead designer of the original RoboSkull. This figure shares a lot with the what do they call the Gary figure? The Gary Goggles figure.
The Gyre Viper.
The Gyre Viper, yes.
It's pretty similar to, I think, the Red Wolves or the Blood Wolves, or no. Now you have me confused. I had the name until you asked me. So thanks.
Bloodwolf is this guy.
Yeah.
So
I think it's Red Wolf Troopers.
So Bloodwolf comes with first of all, yes, he comes with a lot of stuff that makes him very similar to the Gyre Viper figure or whatever it's called, Gyre Wolf, which is the Gary Goggles tribute figure that was like the very first thing that we got. He shares a lot of body compartments with this. This Bob figure also has a helmeted approach. I will say that I like this figure a lot. If you can, on my camera, you can see that I've opened him and he's in a pose. I've been playing with him. These are very, very, very well made figures. They have a lot of flexibility. They didn't have to be like boiled out of the thing. I was just able to bend them and play with them. That's a big deal for me. I'm not going to let that go. This is not a complaint, but I will just say that I do love the homage to Bob, but there's no way that my Blood Wolf looks like that under the helmet. He's like the most nice looking, Santa Claus looking dude. I'm just like, there's no believability that the guy is a badass that drives a gigantic skull.
Well, the good news is you can swap the head out.
Right, that's basically the gist of it. I do like the head. Maybe I'll find some. Maybe I just put him on a business suit and use him as Bob. So I like the inclusion. But yeah, I put the helmet on right away and was like, this is pretty much the go-to, and I like that a lot. And I like that it falls in line with the Gary figure. Like you can I've got enough between this and the Eagle Force stuff. My Action Force, like Red Shadows line, is coming to life, and I'm very excited about that. So it's nice to have another. Even if you don't want this guy to be flat out Blood Wolf, you put that helmet on him, he could just be any trooper that you wanted, or you can make your own figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have a lot of the Red Wolf troopers. And I have a good amount of the Jungle Troopers as well. So I'm all about the army build I'm all about
Build-A-Bear.
the troop building capacity. Jeez.
Hey, thanks for coming to Build a Blood Wolf. Which Blood Wolf would you like to build today? I want the Shrek one. The card art for this is exceptional. I'm a big fan of the checklist feel that's on the back that shows. Good chance for us to kind of get caught up on what we were talking about. Blood Wolf obviously is packaged inside this RoboSkull. The Wolf Trooper was was he the three? No, they made a vintage and a modern of him, right?
Yeah, they did an O-ring version that came with a bonus head, and they did a modern style.
So the Wolf Trooper was the other thing that had been sent out early. You could choose between a vintage 3 3/4 like O-ring style, or they made a modern version as well. I did get both of these, but I only opened the modern one. I wanted the vintage one, but I just don't have a use for it or a display for it right now. They're cool.
Did you get any of the Jungle Wolf troopers?
I did not. Did you?
Yeah, I have about 10 of them.
Oh God. Okay. What are your thoughts on it?
So I haven't opened the Jungle Wolf because it's the exact same as the Red Wolf, just paint variation.
Just green.
I've opened both the Wolf Trooper and the Gyro Wolf, and they are two of my favorite, all new construction figures that I've gotten in a long time. They're done really well, and they're simple, and that's not an insult. It's like a positive. They're not overcomplicated. They have enough high tech mixed in. A thing that I appreciate is that they use the construction of, altered Marauder figures, but they're more complete feeling because they're not covered in portholes because they're design figures. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for Skeletron to come in, the man himself, the robot himself. But more importantly, and sorry if I'm jumping too far ahead, but did you open the cards?
No, but I have them here. Let's finish the figures, and then we'll talk about...
Well,
so
yeah, anyways, go on, sorry.
Joel touches on an important fact that Skeletron is the one figure the remaining to be delivered still.
In the 4-inch scale.
In the 4-inch scale. He's the actual robot skeleton looking dude. And we were talking about the Gary figure, which I do now have here that I can show you. He's called Gyro Wolf, and he came with an interchangeable head that made him look like Gary goggles. If you're not familiar with Gary, just look him up. He was a very well-known fan. Maybe someday I'll be as well known as Gary was. I got to keep working for the next 20 plus years on it. You can see it's the same mold, just a different paint style, and they look great together. He looks like a faction leader. You know what I mean? Like it totally fits in. It's an extremely good looking figure. He has a standard, they're calling it a data file. We would know them as file cards. That's always a nice touch. He's not specifically called Bob. He's called, I guess, Bolf. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. He's from Sweden. I like that they. I like that they added it. You know, we're always kind of looking for that traditional G.I. Joe style, and this is a good throwback to that. We're seeing more from other people that are being able to like capture that retro vibe on cards, which I really like, and still bring their own unique style to it.
And
Here's our blueprint, our instructions, and our stickers. Now, I didn't put any stickers on mine. It's almost always the last thing. It's like an afterthought for me because I don't particularly enjoy it. And there are quite a few, like printed on labels already, so I didn't feel like I had to do it.
I pretty much never sticker my stuff.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll get a wild hair or I'll see something and I'm like, oh, that's got to be on there. But nowadays enough stuff is printed on it that I'm like, all right, well, it looks good enough. Really excellent blueprint where you can see like every angle of the skull. It's specifically pointing out like, here's the wing exhaust vent. Here's the liquid oxygen tank. So if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty of like, how does it work and what are all these parts? Here you go. Figure it out, you know. Use the correct terminology when your Joes are getting blown up by the gamma ray absorption nanotech shielding or whatever. Cool, it's a cool piece, a nice little print. I mean, it would be a good display. I do like stuff like this, the like blueprint vibe, and I also like being able to know the specific names of all the like weaponry. I just think that adds an extra touch of realism to it. The sticker sheet is pretty minimal. It's got some number marking on it and just some like kind of like flame effects. Nothing I felt strongly about.
I believe they glow in the dark, or maybe the ones that come with the special edition glow in the dark.
I'm gonna say probably those white ones do. If you go back, you can kind of see there's like a white one. I didn't test those, but they look like the kind of thing that would glow in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did forget about these stickers. I do need to put those on. It's like computer parts, LEDs. Yeah, like tech stuff. I need to put those on for sure.
That would have been handy to be printed on because those are going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to nail down, especially because you got to wiggle into that canopy area. Here's your instruction sheet. You know, it's not an incredibly detailed construction. It goes together pretty straight, pretty simply once you get those wings on. Just flip it around. There you go, buddy.
Man.
So, operations manual for Mark II. This is just showing, hey, here's where the wings go, blast effects, shows how everything works, et cetera, et cetera. I'll skip ahead just a little bit. But you can kind of get an idea of what the functionality is. You can see how the missiles and lightning effects load. There's the chin gun. There's the thing you were talking about, Joel, where the seat and the gun all fit onto the little stand. And that's pretty much it. Let's get into some assembly. I'm going to skip ahead. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit.
Cue up the Jeopardy
because
music.
I get this wrong. That's actually the correct way that I'm trying it on right now, but it was really hard. It just like wasn't clicking into place. So I didn't want to apply you can see me really going at it right here. I'm really trying to get it to click into place. Oh. Now let me try the other side.
This is so funny.
Yeah.
I wish we would have had a video of when we sorted all the Dio stuff.
We should have filmed it. We could have time lapsed it.
Oh my god!
All right, I finally got my first wing on, and that gave me the confidence to put the other one on, knowing that I had it. You can see there that just then that the wing does move up and down as well as in and out a little bit. So I'm not 100% sure. I mean, unless you're using it for like a V2OL mode, I probably wouldn't shift it too much, but it is a viable option.
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to be able to spin 360. Wow, he just hit us with a CPR.
Yeah, I was like, this thing's going on whether it wants to or not.
I love that you can flip it and then like those bottom prongs open for like a standing, you don't.
Yes.
Yeah, like for grounded mode.
I'm so glad I bought the stand because although it does rest on the bottom of the wings and it's perfectly like feasible like as a display just as is, I always think about vehicles like the Defiant, which will break its own wheels over time just by standing on itself. So I'm like, maybe this stand will be a nice way to make sure that these wings don't get leaned on too much over time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to order a second flight stand when they become available.
You can see me. I kind of pushed the tops and bottoms of the wings inward because that's how they were pictured, and I thought, I don't know, maybe that's how they're supposed to go. You can see I'm testing out the blast effects now just
Right
to
in
make
the
sure.
eye.
I was like,
No.
no, I knew right from the get-go that I wanted those green canisters to be the eyes. Like, I don't think there was going to be any deterring me from that. Here's the blast effects going in. Pretty straightforward, good display, pretty standard. You see that one that's leading.
Yeah.
This guy, he's like, I got a guy way off perimeter. I'm going to blast him.
And you're like, oh, how can I spin it to make it less obvious?
Yeah, right. How can I make this look less weird? You can't. I'm going to have to boil
Do
it.
those fit in the back exhaust? Did you try that, or is there not a spot for that?
Let me look and see. No, the back exhaust does not have a port. It actually has a sticker like
Okay.
covering where it would go. That's a solid idea, though. There's basically nothing on the back. It doesn't look like. There's the little chin turret. It was showing that there's like a little bar that goes across them,
it
but
keeps
that
them
was
together.
all pre-installed, so I didn't even have to do that step, which was a nice less work, all better. Here's this me trying to figure out how the mouth opens up. It is kind of tough. It's actually easier, I think, once you put the thing on that goes underneath it. I don't know why, but
I think it like stabilizes it somehow.
yeah, it is a little awkward with that piece on because you have to kind of slide it back and then get the mouth to move. I guess there's really no reason. I mean, like, you could leave it off if you wanted to. It's just an extra set of guns.
I'm like kind of conflicted because like I kind of want to see it as like the sled mode, but like realistically,
yeah.
I don't think I like would ever need the sled mode,
Yeah, same. Basically the same. That would be the kind of thing if I had a third one, I'd just be kind of messing around with it.
See, then my problem is if I had a third one, I would want them to match. So it's like I would like. Ideally, what they need to do is sell the chair and sell the sled separately, so I can just have an extra.
That's a totally feasible thing that could happen down the line once they get their stock, sorted and see what they have extras of. They might also need to keep some back for like quality control issues. So once that stock is free, they're good to go. All right, so here's the bottom piece finally attached. There we go. And that adds an additional like 2 guns beneath the chin.
It does look great with those extra guns.
I agree. It's a nice little touch. This is me figuring out the eyes. I will say I don't have a lot of negatives to say about this at all, quite frankly. But if I was going to pick something, it would be that I had a tremendous amount of difficulty getting these eyes to stay in the socket. Specifically, the left one on the screen, you can kind of see it's almost like I would put it in and the plastic would very slowly push it out
Well,
at an angle.
I'm going to hit you with the thing I hit you with the blast effect.
Just boil it?
No, with something this big, just hit it with like the hair dryer for like a couple seconds just to soften it up.
All right, so now we have everything basically out of the box, if I'm not mistaken. And this is basically it. It's basically assembled at this point. I'm just kind of adding on all the little extra bibs and bobs at this point. I got to put the missiles in and figure out where everything else goes. While this is happening, let's talk a little bit about all the other stuff that came with it. So there were many, many, many add-ons for the RoboSkull, not the least of which were some of the figures that we were discussing. But one of the things that Joel was very excited to talk about were these card sets that came with it. Now, I'm not a big card guy, although I do appreciate the effort. These are very cool, actually. They have a lot of this is like the packaging art that I was just raving about. Here's the card art for the Wolf Trooper, the Skeletron, Jungle Wolf, Dire Wolf, Red Weasel. There's the Retro Trooper, Skeletron, Here's some like action shots. This is Blood Wolf Attacks. Sorry, I gotta make sure I'm getting this on camera.
I'm just mesmerized by the
there's
video.
another really cool. This is the Wordburglar art for the "I Get to Drive It" song that he recorded. Here's some actual like figure toy photography
by Billy Kistler on Instagram. That's
exactly right. I was trying to think of his name.
That's his Instagram name, not his real name, but he is.
Who am I? What card am I looking for?
Oh, so I sent you a photo in our chat. It's the back. If you put all the cards together, they make.
Oh, let me see.
They make two different things, and one of them is a new Trooper design.
All right. So what Joel has shared, which I will share with you guys, is this. If you put the back of the cards together, there's a big Red Shadows art that has it's just a flat out red. Do you think they're making a Red Shadow Trooper?
I mean, that's that's a new Trooper design.
Yes.
So,
he actually looks like.
If you
I mean, it looks a lot like a Red Shadow with an improved helmet.
Yeah. So if you look, it looks to be, probably the same body, perhaps a different torso. The legs are definitely the same in the art. Obviously, this is a artwork. It's not a photo of a toy. But if you look at his back, it looks like he has some sort of missile launcher, which one of the Red Shadows figures came with. The original, like the 5 POA Palatoy, came with like a like RPG style, style weapon. So I mean, it's safe to say that we're probably going to see more figures. I would assume. I mean, I kind of like. I can know without knowing. Like, this isn't me being like coy or like
right.
But
no
like,
insider knowledge, just common sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally art for a new. It's a different design. It's a different layout or a different gear build out for And I'm all for it. Make as many Red Shadows.
Absolutely. Yes, bring it on.
I mean, I'm desperate for it. This is kind of all we got. There's a few companies keeping the 4-inch line alive. In terms of like accessibility. I'm not talking about like Joy Toy and stuff like that. Like those guys exist in their own world. But I'm saying like, this is a new toy line that is for us. Really. I mean, I'm just all in on anything they're doing in the 1/18 scale. I have if. I can tell you right now, this bazooka, I mean, I'm just going to call it a bazooka trooper because that's what it looks like. I'm good for at least 10. I mean, I have to be. It's like, this is what I enjoy. This is what I like. And it's made by people that I like, which is even better.
All right. So this is where the little like medical bay storage thing goes in the back. It clicks in the back. It's got some nice printed stuff on it.
The way you put the Skeletrons in was technically wrong.
How so?
So there's a hole on the back of the head that you fold the legs flat, and when you push them in, you see their faces looking at you through the clear red screen.
That's pretty cool. I did not realize that. I'll have to go back and mess around with that.
Yeah, I did. I saw an unboxing where the guy figured it out. I did not. I have an open mind, so but. Yeah, there's a small porthole on the back of the head, so when you click that into the 3 pegs that are on the back or that are in the little container, and then they store with their faces looking up at you.
That's awesome.
I think the green bombs in the eyes is the best look, in my humble opinion.
I have to agree. I think it's the way to go. So there is the RoboSkull, fully assembled, nice and close up. Yeah, wasn't hard to put together. Be careful with the wings, but I'll say as someone that went hard on the wings, they were durable, and I got it done. So that's to be commended. The only other thing I have in is this flat stand. The flat stand itself, isn't really a whole lot to talk about. It's just, I mean, you saw it. It's for display, and it does have 2 different ways you can display it, kind of like in a ramping, like it's attacking, and just a straight display mode. It also, I didn't realize this, I guess, when I'd ordered it, but it comes with 2 RoboSkull eye cannon blast effects and 4 RoboSkull chin gun blast effects. So yeah, it comes with the blast effects, which I didn't realize was something it was coming with, and so that's a nice little add-on as well. The only thing that I haven't gotten other than the Skeletron is there's also an armored mask plate that goes over the front of the skull to kind of like protect it in battle, and I'm assuming that's coming down the road. I got the big thing, so I can wait on the other smaller stuff. Joel, did you back additional stuff that maybe I didn't get? Something that I'm forgetting?
I mean, I have all the figures coming, so I went in all in, like the double all in version, or like the all in version that got you both versions of the RoboSkull.
Okay.
So I got one flight stand. I have one faceplate coming. I'll probably order a second faceplate and a second flight stand, assuming that they'll be available in the store. I know you can pre-order the faceplate now. But yeah, I mean, I just basically I have the book coming, the Total RoboSkull book. Again, it was all included in my all-in pledge. And then I did a bunch of all the add-ons for me were just figures. I just like beefed up how many figures I got.
Yeah.
I got one of each of the 6-inch, with the exception of I think I did 3 of the red 6-inch figures because they sold a kit, so you could make the pilots. You could make both versions of the pilots, Red Weasel and Blood Wolf. But I bought those, specifically for display, just because. Again, it's like, I consider Ben a friend, so having, I want to complete the Skeletron run. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I am genuinely excited to see the 6-inch figures come in. It is a Marauder 6-inch figure. So, I mean, I'm not going to be, like troop building them or anything. I'll be troop building in the 4-inch scale, but it'll be awesome just to see, like, the quality scaled up,
Yes.
But yeah,
absolutely.
I am just genuinely excited for whatever's next. I know that, I'm assuming we're going to see, like, new figures, probably in both scales. Ben has made it very clear that if he offers something in 4-inch, or in 6-inch, he tries to offer it in 4-inch. There's, like, no discrepancy so far. So I can assume that the character design that's on the back of the cards, I can safely assume that we'll see that in both scales. And again, I've said this, I think every time you and I have talked about toys on and off air, but, like, swapping gear can go a long way with using the same figure mold. I mean, I have, I have a disgusting amount of troop builders for every, trooper that I like. And part of what I do is just swap out the gear. And it makes me excited.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's other people like me, so I'm not, I'm not the only one who's this unhinged with collecting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have the option to kind of build your own stuff in the universe as well, and I think having a lot of customizable parts is the key to that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm just all about, like, however many troopers and characters you want to give us, I'm in. I really hope that they kind of really lean into the specialty side of things. I mean, I'm assuming we have this bazooka trooper coming. So, I mean, like, give us a heavy gunner. Give us, a laser sniper, I guess. I don't know. Give us anything. Give us mechanics,
I mean, you own it, so expand the world as you see fit, essentially. All right, that's going to do it for our unboxing and discussion today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Do I recommend the RoboSkull? Yes, absolutely I do. I give it my highest possible recommendation. It's all I've talked about for 3 years. I'm extremely happy with it, and I think you would be too. No matter what scale you are purchasing for, it's a home run. I mean, just about every single aspect of this product is a 10 out of 10. I'm well and truly satisfied with my pledge for this, and I'm excited to get the rest of the stuff that goes with it. I'm excited to find somewhere to display it, and I'm going to play with it a lot. I'm building up my Red Shadows army as well, and they are looking to take over with this great new heavy artillery. So shout out to Skeletron for just a tremendously good job, and if you're on the fence about it, I can't recommend it enough. I think it's they're building up the store. I think they have a bunch of stuff available now that you can just kind of flat out, pre-order or get in on as their product continues to arrive. Look into it. I think it's great. And if you've already got one, leave us a comment or shoot us an email at anythingjoespod@gmail.com and let us know what you think about it or how you're using it in your Joeverse. Joel, do you have any last parting thoughts on the Skeletron as we wrap up?
Well, thanks for having me. And I mean, I love the figures. I haven't opened the RoboSkull yet. Like I said, I mean, I don't know if it was pre or post starting to record, but my construction on my room starts again Tuesday. Well, I guess that doesn't do any good for, I don't know when this is coming out. If it comes out Wednesday, then the day before. But no, I'm genuinely excited to have a place to open and display these, and it's going to be it's been a long wait. It's been worth the wait because they've made it a point to keep everybody in the loop and to also kind of send stuff out as it comes in. Yes. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I love Skeletron as a company and as people. They're amazing. And it's heartwarming to see a fan-started company succeed on such a high level. And it has a lot to do with, the care for the customers and the care for the product. No corners were cut.
I agree 100%.
Period. Everything is kind of over the top in the best way possible. I guess that's all I would have to say is thanks for being an actual fan-ran company.
Yes.
That it gives us what we want.
Thanks for being a fan that also knows how to deliver. Yes, and not just pocket all the money. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for watching, and we look forward to talking to you again in just 2 short weeks, where anything's available for discussion here on Anything Joe.
Move over, Skeletron. RoboSkull, it was decided. A name to match the nightmare that designed it. You think it's scary? Think what's behind it. I get to drive it. They call me Blood Wolf. Yeah, I'm the pilot. And wherever there's peace, I'll defile it. Once you try it, the rest is a dull taste. Find me in space, I'm in the skull face. Comes from an unknown birthplace, millions of miles